we're back with another episode. Ooh, love that feedback. Love that feedback. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for being a part of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos. The Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there that listens to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, LakerHolics.com, and of course, the awesome folks at the Hoopheads Podcast Network. Big shout out to Mike out there. It is sincerely appreciated. Plus, we also want to go ahead and give a big shout out to our friends and our cohorts in crime at LakerHolics.com, L. Rob. And hopefully I will go ahead and look through the emails because I know he sent me one the other day in regards to his thoughts on some of the offseason moves. So I'll have to go ahead and make sure I go in and share his thoughts because I know he's been a very busy man. He wants to get on the show, but fortunately his life is sometimes gets in the way. And of course, a big shout out to our own 5 Things Jamie Sweet, who now has an article up, his latest article on 5 Things with Russell Westbrook. And I know that's a good read out there. I had a chance to take a look at it. It's now available at LakerHolics.com as well. Well, I'll tell you what, more of a good conversation today. I'm looking forward to a lot of great topics on the air. Looking forward to everything that everybody has to say out there. But I've got 3 great guests indeed. They are back from our folks at LakerHolics.com. Be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Also want to give a big shout out to Joe, who appeared earlier this week from LakersBall.com. Well, I want to give him a big shout out as well. Thank him for the time, for all his thoughts on the Lakers offseason moves. Plus, he will be returning to a show upcoming in the not too distant future, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But I've got the LakerHolics.com crew, and some of the things that we'll be talking about today are some tweaks. Could there still be in store for the Lakers? Could there be some things that we'll be looking at as far as Marc Gasol? Will he be on the team? Will he stay on the team? We'll talk about Marc Gasol coming up in the episode. And we'll finally say rest in peace to Dennis Schroder, who is now a member of the much-hated Boston Celtics. And we'll ask the question, will his basically calculated mistake, will he actually go ahead and will the NBA players out there, will they learn from his calculated mistake? We'll talk about that coming up on the episode as well. But first off, I want to go ahead and bring on the man indeed. It is the mastermind behind LakerHolics.com. It is LakerTom and LakerTom. Great to have you here. Wanted to hear your first thoughts on this, and we'll get to you right now, my friend. And that is there any tweaks in store for the Lakers? Because there's been rumors, and you always love those Laker rumors that are out there when it concerns the Lakers. You hear a little bit of this, you hear a little bit of that. But 2 names that have been popping up are Isaiah Thomas, James Ennis III. One's a wing that has been known to shoot somewhat okay from the three-point area, who was a part of those Houston teams, and last year was with Orlando. Long arms, good wingspan, plays decent defense, okay on the three-pointer, not terrific. Someone who has spot started for teams before in the past. His career high is only 8.4, which was last year, which is not great. So he's not going to give you a whole lot, but he's again another wing you could throw out there. And then of course the familiar Isaiah Thomas. So if you want to continue the theme of former Lakers coming back, that'd be great. But he is also a former MVP candidate, an individual who's been trying to do what he can to become a fixture once again in the league. I feel bad, and I don't really put him in the same category as, let's say, Dennis Schroder or Nerlens Noel on being able to pass up, because he didn't actually get a chance to really pass up. Unfortunately, his injuries came in the way. He never got able to go ahead and have the Brinks truck backed up to him. But your thoughts on a tweak being made, and if Isaiah Thomas or James Ennis III could be one of them?
I actually like both of them. I think that who knows what the Lakers are going to do. There's been these hints around from various people. I think the one thing we all feel pretty comfortable with is they're probably going to leave one roster spot open. So instead of filling all three, they're probably just going to fill two of the roster spots. They do have a need for a backup point guard. So to me, the concept of getting Isaiah Thomas, I think is appealing. We know he's a good playmaker. He's an excellent pick and roll playmaker. He's an excellent 3-point shooter. And he recently went out and scored 81 points in a Pro-Am game. 81 points. It sounds so familiar.
Yes, it does.
So anyway, I like it. I like Ennis too, because I think the other need that we have probably is for another player who can play the three, who's a big enough wing to guard guys that used to kill KCP last year. And so I think Ennis fits that role as well as anybody out there. I think that we've done a good job of balancing shooting with defense, trying to replace some of the defensive holes that were created by the trade and the moves that we've made in the offseason. But overall, I think those are the most tweaks that you're going to get. We don't have anybody left to trade unless we wanted to trade a future draft choice for somebody. It does appear to me, at least, that the Lakers are being very cognizant of how much luxury taxes are. Obviously, one of the reasons that Alex Caruso is no longer a member of the Lakers. But I think that they've done a great job, and I think they're probably just keeping their eye on a couple situations, seeing if somebody gets waived that they might be able to pick up. I think that's obviously why they want to keep the 15th spot. But I'm pretty happy with where we are right now. I think everybody has their own individual concerns, but I have to give Rob Pelinka a lot of credit, considering what he had in his wallet when he went out shopping. I think he's done a terrific job.
I think he's done a solid job. In fact, like I said, I was very much on the fence on what was going on when he got all the old guys and the AARP started rolling in and all that jokes and all the side stuff and the retirement home and all that stuff. As far as the bringing the older guys in, I was like, But that second day was really something that I was really impressed by getting Kendrick Nunn. Malik Monk could be somebody that could work out for you. Getting those additions on the second day, I think, was much more enticing for Lakers fans than the first day for me, especially. But I think it's a positive sign. I think the Lakers have a team that can compete. We'll see if it's for how level. I think Western Conference, as far as getting to the Western Conference Finals, getting to the NBA Finals, I think is pretty much right now. If they have the good health, I think it's something that definitely should be in place for the Lakers. We'll see if NBA Finals could be in store. I know Brooklyn is now again a solid favorite for the NBA championship. I think the Patty Mills signing was a kind of our killer for us. I think that was a really that would have been so sweet if the Lakers would have had him coming off the bench or playing crunch time for the Lakers, because he adds so much to it. But there's some good signs in Lakers land, and I'm really looking forward to it. And they could make some tweaks that might help the Lakers. So hopefully that will be the case. But we'll talk about if Marc Gasol will be one of those tweaks. That's coming up at some time this season. That's coming up a little later on. But also here today to talk about the Lakers is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and catch what he's doing today at Lakerholics.com. He invades Lakerholics.com constantly with his great comments and also his pointed out in history, Lakers history, plus his comments on and articles that are posted for what's coming out right now in the news at Lakerholics.com. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, your thoughts, any little tweaks? Is there another name out there, since you are our aficionado on the NBA? Is there another name out there besides Isaiah Thomas and James Ennis that could be a part of the Lakers roster? Or are those two a good fit that you think is going to happen?
Yeah, honestly, Gerald, I think those two are a good fit. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out if there would be another talented player out there just in the wind or possibly being waived that could help us in that regard, and I don't see it. So I concur with Tom. I can't really add much. I think adding IT and Ennis would be a shot in the arm. I think I also agree with him that I think we should only go to 14, and like reading the tea leaves that looks like what Rob might do. Only because you know what, man, it always rains too. You never know when it's gonna rain, and you need an umbrella. And if an opportunity comes up where he can add somebody who he thinks would be a shot in the arm defensively or another shooter, I think he's gonna pull the trigger.
You're on mute.
I wish, thank you. So too many buttons I'm playing with right now because I was just looking up at L. Rob's email right now, making sure I wanted to go ahead and convey his thoughts on the Westbrook trade. But getting into what we're talking about right now with the Lakers and the additions that they want to make, I really want to go ahead and start asking questions because the back end of the roster, as I've always said, those should not be throwaway slots. Those shouldn't be to guys like Udonis Haslem and Jared Dudley. Those throwaway positions that you throw out there for guys who are never going to really produce for you or just be barkers on the bench. I know LakerTom up there is. I feel like the member of the Brady Bunch, looking up and down on the squares, or like Family Feud where we're looking on the side or whatnot. But I'm still thinking those guys are not necessary for such a veteran team. And what you should do is get guys in place. Spencer Young from Basketball University. You got to go ahead and check them out. Medium.com/basketball-university. Wanted to ask you this real quick in regards to some tweaks. Are those the obvious fits? I mean, the guys in the Summer League, God bless them. In fact, they're competing right now as we're speaking against the Clippers. It's tied up in the fourth quarter. And even if they come out with a winning team, because right now as we're speaking, they're 1-1. I don't see anyone that's a quick fix to the roster. I don't see Joel Ayayi or Austin Reeves or the guy that looks like a 13-year-old Mac McClung who they just signed for the roster. And also, some of the other guys that are there. I mean, I know also as well Chandri Brown has been talked about, but these guys, unfortunately, I don't see enough of as far as making any kind of contribution this year. We will see, but for in successive seasons, if they'll actually be members of the team. But, I mean, are there any tweaks that you would make if you're sitting back there? Are Isaiah Thomas and James Ennis III the answer, or is somewhere else?
So I have like a couple of thoughts. I actually, I feel so bad for Isaiah Thomas, but I wouldn't look at his signing as a positive. I don't think. I feel that like in the playoffs, I want Russell Westbrook and LeBron playing 40 minutes a game, and when you split their minutes,
Is Avery Bradley still out there?
Yeah, he is. But
defensively,
yeah, maybe. But so if Isaiah Thomas, part of my problem is obviously like physics. He's 5'8", 5'9", so on defense, I'm sure Frank Vogel's gonna love that. The other problem is we have Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, Russell Westbrook, Kent Bazemore. I'm pretty sure at least one person's getting squeezed out of the rotation.
More than one, most likely.
Yeah, if you add a fifth guard, now you're squeezing like 3 people off the rotation. I just don't think it's necessary. I think Kendrick Nunn is probably a better player than Isaiah Thomas right now, unless Isaiah Thomas proves me completely wrong. With James Ennis, I watched him on the Sixers. He's like a hustle guy. His 3-point shot's kind of misleading. He's not a 43% shooter at all. He's way closer to like 35, 36. I guess I've been like the biggest proponent for the Lakers to need wing players. I think Trevor Ariza is my favorite signing of all the minimum guys. So yeah, I take Ennis. I take Wes Matthews back. Avery Bradley, maybe. And then the last thing I'd say is maybe sign Paul Millsap to play like the Marquise Morris role, but I think
can he? Do you think he still hasn't?
Yeah, he's kind of washed. I do agree, but I think just from positionally, you put Trevor Ariza at the 4. He's kind of undersized. Paul Millsap is obviously more size, better rebounding, so maybe.
I think with LakerTom, I think alluded to this last week in regards to Trevor Ariza that his last season. Now, mind you, he took some time off because he had to deal with a marital issue, divorce issue, and then a custody battle. with his ex-wife, and he had to deal with that. So that's why, and plus also he had concerns for the COVID virus. That's why he stayed out. But once he came back to Miami, he just didn't look like the Trevor Ariza that was so valued in the league for the past 15 years. It just seemed like something was missing. You're hoping that was just something maybe of a fluke and that he has one good year left. But I'm kind of thinking he might be closer to where we see Paul Millsap now, as possibly being washed. And I say that, don't say that meanly. I just say that as what I saw last year. I'm worried more about that, but we'll see what happens with Trevor Ariza, see if he can give you anything. But yeah, I mean, there's some things that we can go ahead and tweak on the roster. There's some names still out there. I would prefer maybe a Bradley, just because the fact that we are a little bit susceptible on the defensive end, when it comes to backcourt defense. And if, let's say, they match up against a Brooklyn in the finals, and let's just put that out there. I mean, you do need a little bit of backcourt defense, and I'm not sure the Lakers have enough right now to offset that, if Harden and Irving are playing well. So what are your thoughts, MagicMan? I mean, am I wrong on that, or should I show any concern for the backcourt defense?
I would, Gerald. Yeah, I share your same concerns if we play them in the finals with the team we have right now. Sure.
I mean, you get rid of Caruso and KCP, and despite the fact that both Tom and I were upset at the fact that they shot once every calendar moon. The fact that they did play defense and they were our best backcourt defenders, and then Wesley Matthews not retained as well. That kind of concerns me.
It does, Gerald. Which again, you had a theory with the free agency that you suggested that the money dried up quick, and basically after that happened, free agency kind of splintered, and there was a lot of disinformation, and certain guys went to certain places, and we were all surprised with some of the moves.
And Dennis Schroder went skateboarding and lost $80 million. But
right,
I digress.
But if you look at the names that are left, Gerald, some of them still have some gas in the tank. And Keith Smith on Twitter had an interesting thought. He said that he was responding to a question, and somebody had asked him about that. And he said, well, look at it this way. If NBA teams are only offering them the minimum, why wouldn't they wait until the All-Star break or when the buyout market becomes a little clearer to kind of make their moves, so to speak? I think there's some merit to that.
There is some merit to that, indeed. That's a very good point. But there's also issue of when you come in that far behind, like Dwayne Dedmon did, because he came so far late in the season, how much you're going to contribute, how much in shape are you going to be? So that's something you need to think about. But LakerTom, one man popped in my head, one person that you and I have both been behind for quite some time. The Lakers did have, and we're going to continue the theme of returning Lakers possibly, because he's still out there to the best of my knowledge, and that's Boogie, Demarcus Cousins.
Well, I have one firm hope, which is that the Lakers are going to go small this year, that they're going to start Anthony Davis. And so the last thing in the world that I want to give Frank Vogel is another center. I don't care how good of a stretch five he is. I don't want to give him another reason not to play Anthony Davis at the five.
Okay.
So I don't have any centers, and I sure don't have Boogie on my list.
Okay. All right. We miss you, Boogie, though. All right. We hope you find a job. And I feel so bad for him because he once was, offered, again, like others, such a big, huge contract. He had a great future, and then injuries.
He and IT both got screwed.
Yeah.
As opposed to Dennis and Nerlens having made a big mistake.
And we'll talk about Dennis coming up here in a minute. But, that's very disappointing. But, guys,
here's the thing. Here's the thing I find interesting about all of the Lakers' moves, and I'd like to see what everybody else thinks about this.
Okay.
We started the season with them talking about running it back. Well, man, what we did is an extreme makeover. We didn't run it back. We made it over. And the only person we brought back was THT. Other than that, everybody else And I think Gasol is going to be gone too. They tried to trade him. They tried to trade him.
We'll talk about that too.
To the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
The
big question is what happened that the Lakers all of a sudden were ready to take a team that had won a championship in the bubble, and they weren't going to bring back any of these players? Not Caruso. I mean, Schroeder, you understand, but not Caruso, not Wes Matthews, not Markieff Morris. To me, and it's just my opinion, that it shows that the Lakers understood in retrospect that the last two championships were not a measuring stick to be used for the championship that's coming up with full arenas and hopefully with COVID, hopefully under some sort of control. But the Lakers obviously decided they were going to make major changes. Can you remember a championship caliber team just a year removed from winning the championship and only not winning it probably because of injuries to their two superstars, to totally retool and get rid of 10 players?
Well, let me ask you this. I think this also answers that question too. How long ago was the Lakers championship in the bubble? Was that October to November? It's pretty late in the year for 2020, right?
Right.
Okay, and you get less than a year later, less than a calendar year later, how many individuals are still left on that team? THT, LeBron, AD.
LeBron is the longest reigning Laker at this point in time.
Isn't that scary? Indeed? But yes, there's only three members of that team.
No, I can't remember anybody else doing something like that.
I mean, that
You
happened.
build super teams from teams that are losers.
And it also talks about when you talk about this, when you also goes into the whole entire team, the staff, the training staff. Yep. You take a look at that wonderful photo of everybody celebrating right there at half court and everybody having fun at that just less than a calendar year ago. And I want to stress
just a bubble away.
Yes,
just a bubble ago.
Almost all gone. So that tells you right there that Rob Pelinka is going to push the button.
Yeah.
He just jettison everybody he can in order to try and get the best chance he can to win a championship. Even when they won a championship, they started to make changes in the offseason because they think they thought they need to get better and they thought it was the right moves. And we all know what happened there. But man, again, the turnover in less than 12 months has been amazing.
if you look at why they did this, I mean, we started the whole off season worrying about Anthony Davis's health. That's what all of the discussions were for a month almost.
Yeah.
And yet when you turn around and look at it, what the Lakers really did, at least I believe, is they were worried about LeBron James' health. Because this move for Westbrook is 100% part of a program to get LeBron out of having to be the facilitator and the point guard on the team, to get him closer to the basket. I think we're going to see him post up, and I think Russ's job is to get the ball to LeBron and AD playing the 4 and 5, and they're going to do a lot of post up. They're going to do a lot of driving and so forth. So the whole team, this whole process of why I think they turned over the entire roster is because they saw LeBron get hurt in 2 of the last 3 years. And understand that they needed, number one, a third superstar so that they can deal with 2 guys that may have injuries from time to time. Secondly, they needed somebody to take over the playmaking thing. And thirdly, we lucked out because I can't believe how many good shooters we were able to get. I mean, for minimum contracts. We were lucky that there were a lot of good 3-point shooters available.
Well, to say, as you get older, one of the things you focus on is shooting, and your shooting has a tendency to get better. So
yeah,
I'm thankful for that. It just all depends with the age. All the jokes aside, as far as the age is concerned, it is a concern, and it has to be concerned how these old guys will be able to go ahead, because they're not all LeBron. They're not all built like LeBron. They don't all train like LeBron.
Getting $140 million, man, at 36.
Well, again, but that's a select few. How many of them are, Kawhi, he just signed the 4-year deal. He is going to be expected to do that at 35, 36. But how many of these guys realistically how do they keep up with their bodies? How do they keep up with the rigors in the NBA? I mean, imagine these rookies and these second-year players. They're coming in. They're 20, 21, 22. And you're expecting a lot of these 33, 34, 36, 37 guys in the case of Melo to guard them. And that's hard. I mean, you guys, everybody out there knows. Everybody, okay, you go to the park. Let me give you an example. You go to the park and you go to the school. And Spencer, when he's handling the ball, he's the young kid. And you're going to ask me at an advanced age, or let's say MagicMan's age. You're going to ask, because what, you're 33, 32?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, around that. Okay. So he's 13, 14 years older than Spencer. So in doing that, you're talking about so many more miles, so many more injuries, a lot of things. It's
take him into the post, Sean.
Yeah. Again, you have the savvy, you have the experience. I get that. But you understand, just over the course of the season, a lot of people have their concerns, all jokes aside. I still think right now, if the Lakers get in healthy, they have a definite chance to win the NBA championship with that kind of savvy. And if they shoot to their expected marks. If they don't shoot to their expected marks, then we have the same issue we have every year, except for worse defense. So, if they shoot 40%, then it's golden. Then it'll be all something that we talked about for a long time about how we needed the shooters and now we have them. So, I'm hoping for that, but I do want to thank everybody for listening and watching. And then before we head to Spencer, MagicMan, you got something real quick? Because I've got a question I want to ask Spencer coming up next.
Yeah, absolutely. How about we go through a question for you guys? Okay, so it's start, bench, cut for this version of the Lakers. Okay, so shooting, defense, chemistry. Spencer, you go first.
So what are you suggesting?
Yeah, no. You start, bench, cut. So there's 3 aspects. So you have shooting, defense, and chemistry.
Who would you start for each one of those components? Okay.
I'm starting with shooting because obviously with our 3 stars we need shooting or else we're kind of screwed.
So we're just talking about 2 people each time because we know the other 3 starters, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to our
simplify it.
This goes back to our starting lineup the other day.
So who else besides the superstars is what we're talking about for shooting?
Okay, then I'll go defense, and then third I'll go and cut. I'll cut chemistry. I mean, chemistry I'm worried about just because like Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn, they're gonna want paydays. Like they signed to get a payday next year, so if they get cut from the rotation and they don't like it and they have problems with the coaches, that's not good. But talent wins out, man. So I'm going shooting.
Nunn is someone who should play and play consistently, and by the end of the year could be someone that the Lakers could be relying on. I mean, if he plays like he did at times in Miami, because he would either score 25 or be on the bench for 3 games with a DNP, and I couldn't get it. I didn't understand the difference, why it was in between, why it was so vast between one outcome and the other with him. So I don't know. I didn't get that, but Spencer, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean, I basically made my points. Kendrick Nunn, I think he obviously left Miami because they were hard capping on. They weren't going to give him his contract, but I think part of the reason he liked to leave is that they really benched him for Goran Dragic, and like they totally cut him out of their playoff rotations for 2 years.
On more than one occasion they did. Yeah. And then when they had injuries, it would be like, okay, break the glass in case of emergency, and he can score 25 points for you like he did in the finals. So, it didn't make sense to me, why that he was always in or out, and it was just nowhere in between, and he didn't have any steady type of rhythm, but he was still able to produce when you asked him to. So I'm hoping he'll have a better shot at the Lakers. I really think that he should be the guard playing opposite of Russell Westbrook. I don't know if that's the case, and as LakerTom and I have surmised, Vogel gets into some bad habits when it comes to lineups and playing Gasol and Ellington or someone that's, not maybe the ideal fit is something that could happen. I'm not going to say will, but I think LakerTom has got that somewhere in the back of his mind as well, that this is a possibility that Frank Vogel does that, which will get his heart pumping again because they'll go off to first quarter deficits again and have to come back throughout the whole game again like they did last season, where it was a constant source of just consternation. But yeah, I think that right now shooting should be paramount, especially with Westbrook, who is, again, one of the worst shooters all time. But if he's giving you so much more a boost in transition and rebounding and physicality, then it's a great offset that you'd like to have. So, but you do need shooting. And you got to make sure with Kent Bazemore could be a key on this team, because if he's one of the best defenders that you got on these minimums, but is the 40% shooting that he shot with Golden State, is that an outlier or is that realistic? Or, that's the thing I think a lot of people are asking. Is that something that's going to stick, or is he going to revert back to his old ways? So he was like a 35, 34% shooter, and there you go. So that's the case that doesn't help you as much as you hope. So I think shooting right now, it has to be paramount, especially with the guys involved. And you're expecting, if AD's healthy, to be one of the best defensive players in the NBA. MagicMan?
Oh, absolutely, Gerald.
That was a long-winded answer to answer your question.
Well, I mean, if it was me, I'd start shooting. I would bench defense and I would cut chemistry. I'm with you and Spencer there. I'm sure Tom would agree to an extent.
Oh my gosh, he's been the one that's shouted shooting forever. So yes, I would imagine so. But let the man speak.
Yeah, I actually took the question differently, Sean. I thought you were asking, if you were going to go for shooting, who would you put in the lineup? If you're going to go for defense, who are the two you were starting, and so forth. So, I mean, from a shooting standpoint, I think most of us agree Ellington and Nunn basically would be the two shooters I'd put out there. If we were playing the defense, it's probably Bays. It'll probably be Kent and Trevor that I would put out there. And if it was for chemistry,
that's what's great about the versatility of this lineup, right? Is that you can insert Nunn offensively, and if you need,
and then there's Frank, who likes defense, so he'll probably start Howard at center, so that we don't have shooting, and Ariza at the other position, and we won't have any shooters.
One thing I want to ask real quick is Trevor Ariza, and I just raised my hand doing the Sean MagicMan thing because I wanted to ask Ariza and Anthony. These were guys that originally started out as small forwards. Do you think Carmelo can no longer guard small forwards in the league? That's a no-no, and if you try to put him out there, you're going to get burned. But Spencer,
he can't guard power forwards either. That's
the problem. So you better hope he hits 40% on his threes or 42.
Yeah.
Ariza, are you sure he can still play threes, Spencer? I'm not convinced he can still play threes in the league.
He's 6'8". He's the tallest guy we got.
I understand his height. I'm talking about his athleticism and his age.
6'8" and long. You can't put these 6'2" and 6'3" other guards we got on it.
No,
but I'm saying like that.
Well, Kent Bazemore still might have some of his
6'4".
Yeah, well,
that's you know what that's going to remind you of? Bazemore guarding threes. It's going to remind you of KCP guarding threes.
But Spencer, I mean, let me ask you.
A great defender, got a hand up for every shot, but still like 5 inches, 3 or 4 inches too short to really affect the guy that he's guarding.
But let me ask you this, Spencer. I mean, is Ariza still effective playing threes at this age? Well, how was he in Miami? I only saw spot games with him, and I didn't see very much.
I mean, so obviously, like, Jimmy Butler was their three and was their, like, nominal small forward. I think, so what I'd say is that even when Trevor Ariza's in his prime, his, like, best attributes physically were lateral quickness and his length, not his frame. I don't think so. I mean, I still think he has some lateral quickness left. And then, as LakerTom said, I do agree that Kent Bazemore guarding, I don't know, Paul George is going to be like KCP guarding Paul George. It's just a height mismatch. So yes, I do think you kind of have to trust Trevor Ariza at some point.
He's got to be good, or we have a problem on the wing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I've got 4 fingers crossed. I'm going to tell you right now, because remember, this isn't the Trevor Ariza of 2010. This isn't the Trevor Ariza that, took over that second half in Orlando and basically won the Lakers the title in that second half with that performance and helped the Lakers get back into overtime until, Fisher and Kobe, basically took over from there. But he was just tremendous, if you remember that. And Lakers fans hopefully will always be indebted to him for that. But yeah, I'm still have my fears on that. But I wanted to ask you this, Spencer, while I got you here, moving on to other great things here at the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there watching and listening. Mr. Dennis Schroder finally got the contract. Not quite the one he was thinking about, because he was initially offered a 4-year, $84 million contract by the Lakers, but unfortunately turned that down because he was thinking he was going to bet on himself. Well, I'm here in Vegas, and I could clearly tell you a lot of people come into this town betting on themselves, and they go home losers, which is why the hotels are so big in this town. So I ask you, my friend, obviously he miscalculated. I don't know if it was him, his agent, whatnot, maybe his skateboard, because he was caught skateboarding the other day just before he said yes to the contract. But I want to hear your thoughts. He did sign a 1-year, $5.9 million deal with Boston. He's going to be their starting point guard. We'll see what kind of things he can do to resurrect his career to a point where maybe he can get paid next year. But
he's going to start. Did that been announced?
Well, it's either him or Peyton Pritchard. So you tell me.
No, it's really
Marcus Smart.
It could be Marcus Smart, but
Marcus Smart is the logical one to start.
At point guard, he's not. He's a wing player that plays excellent defense. He does a little bit of playmaking, and then he has a very shaky shot. So you tell me.
Right, but all of the I just had listened 2 days ago to on Sirius XM to a Boston Celtics broadcasters talking about it, and their whole discussion was Smart or Dennis.
I think that's your backcourt right there. I think that's going to be your backcourt right there, and that because if you have those two, and then you have obviously Tatum, and you have the two wing players who are so good for that team, and then you can throw in a center. I mean, that'll make them competitive. I mean, that's probably the best you're going to get in Boston right now. But I mean, your thoughts on Dennis Schroder? I mean, this is what happens in the marketplace, but will this be a teaching tool? I mean, we've now seen Nerlens Noel with his mistake. We've now seen Dennis Schroder with his mistake. Do you see this as a teaching tool for NBA players down the road?
I don't actually. And I mean, so Dennis Schroder, obviously somewhere along the line or somewhere, in his thought process, he made a huge mistake. But he demanded the start, and then he got offered a max extension. So if he just took the max extension, then I don't know why he didn't take it. Maybe because his agent told him that, like, with inflation, he wasn't actually getting a raise. I heard that. I also think he probably went to free agency thinking he had the Lakers in a bird's right trap where, I mean, we said it all the time that we couldn't replace Dennis Schroeder, so we're going to have to overpay him. Obviously, a couple of phone calls later with Russell Westbrook, everything changed now. And then the marketplace, like, obviously dictated that no one wanted him as a starting point guard. But no, I don't think people are going to stop betting on themselves. That's just what happens in the NBA a lot of times.
Go ahead, LakerTom. I had you muted because it's bouncing off time to time on your speaker. So I just want to go ahead.
I was just saying, I agree with Spencer that it's an outlier. First off, Dennis understood, I think, pretty clearly that there is a risk. You turn down an offer like that. I mean, he's known about these other offers that were turned down by guys where it was a mistake, and he gambled on it. And frankly, it's not as heartbreaking as it seems because remember, Dennis just got paid $16 million for 3 years from Oklahoma City. And he's still going to get another shot next year. So if he does well, he's going to miss out on maybe making $10 million this year, but he's not going to lose $80 million because that was a contract for 4 years, and he's going to have 3 years after that. Now, if he screws up or gets injured, that could be a real problem for him. But if he goes out there and plays well, and he should have the playing time and the opportunity and the publicity for doing it with the Celtics, because they're a big market team like the Lakers, and there's going to be a lot of action around there, and there'll be a lot of people who will see how he plays. So he can make it up. And I think that, every time players have to make one of these decisions, I'm sure their agent tells them, listen, there's a chance that the market just could bounce funny, The Lakers could go out and sign Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook, and all of a sudden they won't need you. And then all of a sudden everybody else, could go to different musical chairs, and you could end up be standing when the music ends. But it's not going to be the end of the world for him. It's not as bad as like Isaiah Thomas or Boogie, who both ended up getting injured so that they couldn't cash in on those big deals that were tentatively being offered to them at that point in time. And Nerlens Noel, just came back. Didn't Nerlens get $10 million, I think, from the Knicks?
Yeah, I mean, it's not what he
really signed. That's a double raise for him. So he's starting now to get back to a point. And then a lot of the problems that Nerlens had were really related to the valuation of the center position. I mean, they were paying centers just nothing. And there's still some good centers out there, or good prospects out there that aren't getting paid anything. So I don't think it affects how the players move going forward. Most guys are going to bet on themselves. Although, you find guys like Gerald, who bet on themselves last time, decided to take the solid $10 million this time, not bet on themselves.
By the way, Spencer, the reason why I like to go ahead and forget about Josh Richardson, because unfortunately Josh Richardson has forgot about playing basketball the past couple of years. So I've tried to put him on my fantasy teams thinking he's going to explode, and it just doesn't happen. It happened for 1 year, and then it's kind of faded, but he's still living off that reputation enough to where you're probably right. He'll get that starting spot ahead of Schroeder. And yeah, the size-wise, they're going to have issues with size anyways during the rest of the season. But yeah, Schroeder makes it a little bit worse if that's the case. But I'm sure he's not going to be a happy guy coming off the bench either which way, for the contract reasons or the fact that he's just coming off the bench. I know he's not going to like that, but we'll see what he can do. But yeah, these decisions that they make, these players, these agents that they come to, and sometimes you got to go ahead and grab the easy money. You just got to go ahead and grab the easy money when it's there. But yeah, you live and you learn, and hopefully, he'll get another decent contract like Nerlens Noel did. He'll never be able to recoup that money, Nerlens Noel and Dennis Schroder, but maybe they can get 10 to 15 million here with a good season. Maybe next year's free agency, Dennis Schroder can get paid somewhat commensurate to what he was paid for, and maybe finish out career with a nice salary. But these guys are being paid millions of dollars, so I cannot feel too sorry for them. Right, Sean?
Not so much, Gerald. Not so much. It's a what did Kanye West say? It's a good life. It's a good life. So, just going back to put it in context, I agree with Tom and yourself. Isaiah Thomas did get jobbed. He got jobbed by a couple scenarios. Life threw a couple curveballs at that man, and I wish him well on his recovery, because I'm sure he's still grieving over the loss of his sister that happened during that tumultuous time in his life. But Boogie really got screwed by the Sacramento Kings. When they traded him, he was going to take a significant pay cut. That's ultimately what screwed Boogie. Just going back to Dennis, I mean, Tom's right. He'll probably recoup some of that money, but he's not going to get an offer like that again. Joe Smith turned down $80 million from the Warriors, and the next year on Philly, he was making $2.6 million. Bonzi Wells turned down $35 million guaranteed from the Kings. He wound up making $2 million the next year and was out of the league the following year. Guys make decisions all the time. Spencer's right. I don't think a cautionary tale is going to stop the next guy from possibly betting on himself and flying too close to the sun.
Oh, that we'll see what happens again with Dennis if he can finally get some type of remorse or type of reimbursement, maybe in next year's free agency when he goes back into free agency. But we'll see what happens there. But guys, before we hit the all-time top 10 Lakers, and once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everybody out there listening and watching to our program. I want to talk about Marc Gasol to finish out this part of the conversation. And I'll start with LakerTom because Marc Gasol, I know you first were the one that was really applauding the move most to get Marc Gasol in here at the time, if I remember correctly. Not how it ended up, and I'm just saying at first you were a lot higher on it than myself, and especially not MagicMan, because I will go back in time because MagicMan, he was really against this, getting Marc Gasol because of what he saw in the bubble playoffs, and that was really a disappointing effort right there. So yes. You said JR starts, MagicMan. There you go. Right, JR starts on the varsity golf team for North Carolina A&T. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I just wanted to ask to make sure. Yeah, sure, right there. Okay, but I wanted to ask you this, Tom. When it comes to Marc Gasol, two questions: is he going to be on the team when the season starts, and will he be on the team when the season ends? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, restart now. Oh, Tom, you unmuted. There you go. There you go. I can hear you now. Yes.
I think that the first question, the answer is yes, he'll be gone from the team, which answers the second question. No, he won't be there at the end of the year either.
But he's going to be there at the start of the season.
No, I don't think he's going to be there at the start of the season. I think that the Lakers will waive him or trade him.
Okay.
And I think they will bring in another center. And I wouldn't mind if it was Boogie. My initial reaction to Marc was at least getting a guy who would shoot. Unfortunately, like Alex Caruso, he's afraid to shoot, reluctant to shoot, hesitant to shoot. And that's a big problem because if you can't make at least 1 3 a game, then you aren't going to have any gravity. Nobody's going to go out there and really, try to prevent that. In fact, I think most of the time when they go out to guard Marc, they're just trying to keep him from passing the balls because he's never going to shoot it when he's covered by somebody unless the shot clock is running out.
Yeah.
So, I think I was in favor of the move of bringing back Dwight because we needed some physicality at center and we needed somebody who can protect the rim. But Marc doesn't do that, and it makes it very hard when you have 2 centers who can't play defense the same way, because then all of a sudden everybody else that you put out on the court with them has to figure out, oh, okay, this is Marc, so we're playing this kind of defense, or this is Dwight, we're playing this kind of defense, or does somebody have my back when I go out and guard this guy on the perimeter to prevent him from shooting the 3? And it's much easier if you've got, AD is going to protect the rim. Dwight's going to protect the rim. I was really sad to hear that the Kings signed Damian Jones to a contract because I thought he would have been a perfect center to go in there and fill that role. And I still think they will get a third center. I would be happy with Boogie. I would be happy with somebody who was a good defensive center and so forth. I think it was telling that they tried to trade Caruso and Gasol in one move. I've never heard yet from anybody whom they were trying to acquire from the Timberwolves for them. But we saw what happened with Caruso, and I think we're going to see something similar to that happen with Marc. I haven't read that anywhere. That's just my opinion.
Well, it was funny because, like I said, I mentioned the day he announced that he was going to come back to Lakers. He put up a donut against Team USA. In fact, Team Gasol put up a donut against Team USA. So not quite exactly the way two Hall of Famers are. I mean, they're aged, and they haven't aged well. And I think it's about closing time for both those guys. So I'm hoping that the Lakers will maybe be able to work out something. I mean, they've got 3 second-round picks now from that trade. Not just 2, but 3 from the trade with Westbrook. So that we got an initial one there. So maybe they can throw that Oklahoma City's way, because they're all about draft picks there. But I wanted to ask you this, Spencer, real quick on Marc Gasol. I mean, do you feel the same way that LakerTom does? Do you think he's going to be gone before the season, or do you think he's going to be gone by the end of the season?
Neither, honestly. I know LakerTom wants AD to start at the 5, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that's going to happen, actually. I saw what they did with JaVale McGee, where they have like a 2-shift player.
The Olympian JaVale McGee.
Yeah, so I really think there's a decent chance Marc Gasol plays like 6, 7, 8 minutes to start the first half and second half. I'm fine with it. I thought he was bad to start the season, but around the time where the Andre Drummond rumors got real, I thought he was actually pretty good.
Andre made him look better. He also started to shoot the ball too. That was a difference. When he lost his starting job and came back, he actually got really aggressive and took like 5 threes in 2 or 3 games in a row. And that's really made the difference in the kind of impact that he could have. But
is it consistent? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
then he's a year older now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's consistent, but he's just low volume. I mean, it's fine though. If he's the spot starter, I prefer him over Dwight because I think
you can't have
Dwight Westbrook lineup is going to be like a Ben Simmons Dwight lineup, and those killed the Sixers. So I wouldn't.
Dwight realistically could get 2 fouls and a technical within the first 90 seconds of a game.
Yeah,
Frank very well could do exactly what Spencer's saying. We all knew that.
And we all think that it's going to be the case. I do not think that they will start Anthony Davis either at the 5. Yes,
in good existence, he's going to start Anthony Davis at the 5 because it was LeBron's decision.
Well, let's hope that's the case. I'm hoping that that's the case, Tom. I really don't want them to start their traditional center, and put up Gasol there, but we'll wait and see. MagicMan, did you have any thoughts on this? I mean, you were the one that was originally, before anyone else, I was with you, but I was not as adamant on it. So I'm going to be clear on that. I didn't like the move, but I didn't absolutely hate the move like you did. You absolutely hated the move, could not stand the move. I was more negative on the Montrezl Harrell signing. That to me was kind of a waste on money. And fortunately for Harrell and the Lakers, it didn't work out. But I want to hear your thoughts on this, my friend. I mean, do you expect Gasol to be there, and do you expect Gasol to be there by the end? Do you expect him to be gone by training camp, or do you expect him to be gone maybe after the trade deadline?
Oh, yeah. You know what, Gerald? I think that's a 50-50 proposition right now. Whether
you got to give me an answer, man. Yes or no?
Yeah. I'm going to say no. I'll go with Tom. I'll say no. I think you can throw a second rounder as a sweetener on top of his salary dump to a team, and they'd accept that. I'm pretty sure of it. As you said,
that's $5 million. That's $5 million on your cap.
I think if you found the right team, for example, I mean, if the Raptors would take him for sure, they would take him back.
Okay.
The T-Wolves were named as an example. I could see them. I could see a team like, oh God, what's one of the near to
OKC.
Yeah. So
I mean, they just took Derek Favors.
OKC take almost anybody. They're like a store.
Yeah.
They just buy and sell.
And I got to be honest, I think David Fizdale kind of got a raw deal in Memphis now seeing how Marc Gasol just turns down open shots. I mean, they said this guy detested European big men, but no, what he detested was guys turning down good shots, and I think that's what he helped Chris Bosh accomplish in Miami. He gained a reputation for that, and in Memphis, yeah, Marc Gasol did develop a three, but like Tom said, he takes enough that he makes enough that he should take more, and he's never done that consciously. Like Tom says, like 99 times out of 100 basketball possessions, he's gonna pass.
Well,
He should have emulated Boogie or Brooke Lopez, guys who just like he did develop the 3-point shot
and just chuck
in
it.
their career, but realize that it doesn't matter if I just make one a game or take 2 or 3 a game. You got to take 10 a game, 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 a game, and make 3 or 4 of them a game to really have an impact. Otherwise, you're an afterthought defensively for the other team.
Plus, also on the defensive end, it's hard for him to go ahead and chase down, especially when you see them go ahead and these other teams spread out. I mean, he has trouble getting over to the wing, getting over to the ends. So, yeah, it's really hard for him at his age. Plus, he carries around a lot of weight. He's one of the heaviest players in the NBA.
And we're not going to run. He's not going to be an addition. He's not going to be a rim runner with Westbrook and LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
He's just going to slow him down, whereas even Howard could zip and outrun the other guy down to the end of the court.
Yeah.
Definitely AD doing that is a big advantage. I think that's one of the biggest reasons not to start him.
Yeah.
Aside from the shooting and spacing issue is the pace issue.
Well, MagicMan, I know you.
Issue.
Well, MagicMan. Well, there's and I know when it comes to Marc Gasol, and I'm just hoping you're right, LakerTom, and he is not there. I mean, all respect to Marc, original 2nd round draft choice of the Lakers. I'm just, it just seems like it's best for all party concerned. If you want to go ahead and win a championship, he may not be the best fit. But MagicMan, any last thoughts on Marc Gasol?
Thank you very much. Well, your brother gave us 2 championships. You tried to help us win 1. Best of luck on the road ahead.
Fair enough.
Maybe we'll make it to the trade deadline and we'll give him a ring.
There you go. Maybe we can indeed. But guys, it's been a great conversation. But before we head on out, the last thing and the big marquee on the ticket for today's show is the all-time top 10 Lakers. I'm not talking all-time NBA players because that's another conversation we will have for another day. And believe me, with the period of time that's needed in between this season and next, we will definitely approach and have an episode based on the all-time players, the top 10 players on that. We may have to go to all-time top 20, but I think the top 10 is easier top 10 is harder because you have to squeeze some really good players out. In fact, I had to do that here on my list.
Yeah.
In fact, yes. So I had to squeeze out the number 11, somebody that did just help the Lakers in the last decade or 2 decades ago now, seemingly, helped the Lakers win 2 championships that MagicMan just mentioned. So I'm going to start with you, Spencer. I know someone such as yourself who's very prepared, who has his sense of knowledge in basketball history. Someone that I know dots his I's and crosses his T's, has got a great list out there for you. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. The madman from basketball-university at medium.com. I know you got a great list of all-time top 10 Lakers.
Okay. I'm not going to go in too much order right now, but
no, a top 10. No. You must do it. All right. I'll tell you. You want a second to go ahead and pattern them out?
No, it's all right. It's all right.
All right. You got to give a 1 through 10.
Okay. I guess my disclaimer is that I barely saw pre-Achilles Kobe Bryant, but that's how young I am. So I guess that's my disclaimer.
Oh, there's YouTube.
Okay, and there's also like 5 decades of Lakers basketball. Okay, so I'll go Kobe Bryant number 1, Magic number 2, Kareem number 3, Shaq number 4. I'll go Jerry West, Wilt, Elgin Baylor, James Worthy, LeBron, George Mikan.
Ooh, George Mikan pulling out that. Very nice. Very nice indeed. LeBron, a little bit high at number 9, but these are all-time Lakers. So we're talking about contributions as Lakers, and I think that should be in the marketplace. That, for me, that was part of my mindset. Was that for you as well, Spencer? Was that these are, when you talk about top 10 Lakers, these are not how they've done overall in their careers, just as members of the Lakers.
Yeah, and yeah, obviously LeBron's like the elephant in the room with what he's played 3 seasons, going on 4. But I just felt like, as the face of the Lakers, I can't imagine having to navigate COVID, social justice, and Kobe's passing. And so he came to win a title. He won the title. So I just put him in the top 10 for now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You never know what mine sounds like. I mean, that's a great list, and I do appreciate that. And again, if you want to go ahead and check out everything that he's doing today, please do so at Basketball-University. Before we get to Sean MagicMan, Mr. Grice himself, Sean Grice, I want to go ahead and ask you real quick, what are you guys up to at Basketball-University at Medium.com?
Okay, I posted my thoughts on the Russell Westbrook trade. I know one of our writers just published an article. I think it was on free agency, it was on Summer League. So Summer League's been intriguing, especially with like Jalen Green. I think the Houston Rockets are a really intriguing team. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll get more Summer League stuff out too, potentially.
Well, there you go. There you go. Lakers are 2-1 as we speak on this. So good start for the Lakers. Again, no players that are really going to make a roster right now for the Lakers team, but maybe some development there, and hopefully that'll be a good sign. But please catch Spencer Young and all the great crew that's there at Basketball-University on Medium.com. Up next with his list, no pressure to follow that great list of Spencer Young's. No pressure, no pressure at all, is, of course, the MagicMan. You got to catch what he's doing today at LakerHolics.com. It is Sean Grice. And Mr. MagicMan, I know your list. You are our Lakers historian. You're the guy that goes in the Wayback Machine way before me, way before even LakerTom, and searches out even some of the tiniest little things in Lakers lore, and also in the NBA lore as well. So I want to hear your thoughts. I want your list. I thought the George Mikan adding on there was really good, and I thought that was very impressive. But your thoughts on a top 10 list of top 10 Lakers that you have?
I respect the boldness, the audacity, and the sheer wisdom of Spencer there picking Mikan. I mean, we do have a shared history with Minneapolis, so you can put him on the list. My top 4 is exactly the same as Spencer's, except I've swapped a couple guys. So
well, it's not exactly the same then. Now is it? Just to get technical.
Same top 4, just different
yeah,
order.
Okay. I'm just picking on, just teasing.
So to me, Magic's number 1. He's been to 9 finals. He has 5 championships. To me, that eclipses number 2, Kobe. Kobe's 5-2, still has 5 championships, but to me, Irvin played in a more difficult era and dominated the sport. Shaq is
I don't know about that. I mean, I love the LA rivalry too, but there's a lot of All-Star and Hall of Fame players that the Lakers played against in those early 2000 series.
Touche. Fair point. So my top 4: Magic, Kobe, Kareem, Shaq, Logo number 5, LeBron is number 6, Big Game is number 7, Elgin is number 8, Wilt is number 9, and Michael Cooper is number 10.
Ooh, brings out the defense on that for Michael Cooper. There you go. All right, there you go. In fact, what I want you to do, MagicMan, is when you get a chance, an opportunity, please post our top 10 picks on the LakerHolics.com site whenever, sometime in the next few days, weeks, whatever. I want to make sure that people can go ahead and have that conversation at Lakerholics.com, because that's always a great source of conversation. So people will be able to get a chance to do so.
Gerald, I really wanted to put Robert Horry on the list, but
I was thinking about that too.
He's got 3, but Coop's got 5, so 5.
Well, he's got 7.
3.
He's got actually technically 7. So he walks
3
around. Coop's got 5, but then Robert Horry can actually go, "Hey, bud, what's up?" and go, with 7 fingers. So.
Yeah, 12 titles, Gerald, and neither guy is in the NBA Hall of Fame.
They're role players, man. Cooper, I would. Man, it's so hard to leave them out of the Hall of Fame. They may probably get in on a veteran someday. The veterans might vote them in, but it's so hard to put them both in because, the regular season comes into play and what they did in matchups. They remind me a lot of Rondo. Mm-hmm. If you put in Rondo, you put in Rondo because of playoff Rondo. You don't put in Rondo because of regular season Rondo. Regular season Rondo would never be an afterthought on that. You're there for playoff Rondo. So that's my thought on that. I would group those 3 together. I would just, if you put one in, you put all 3 in. If you don't put them in, then there you go. But LakerTom, I want to make sure you're off mute. So yes, okay, you're off mute. Wanting to hear your thoughts, my friend. You've heard 2 great lists so far. So your top 10 Lakers right there for you. This is the man himself who's experienced so much of the Lakers over the course, has seen more games than any of us, even myself, because, I have to say he was able to see more games in the 70s than I did because I was still in diapers. But I want to know from you, the Lakers, as far as the top 10 list. I know you got a good one, my friend, and I know you put a lot of thought into it as well.
Well, I didn't actually do mine based upon counting rings and stuff like that. I just basically looked at it, what I thought their importance was to the Lakers franchise. So number 1 is Magic Johnson. Number 2 is Kobe Bryant. Number 3 is LeBron James. Number 4 is Wilt Chamberlain. Number 5 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 6 is Jerry West. Number 7 is Shaquille O'Neal. Number 8 is James Worthy. Number 9 is Elgin Baylor. And number 10 is Pau Gasol.
Yeah, very nice list. Very nice list indeed. My compliments to you on that, LakerTom. A very good list indeed. For me, I guess I'm the last on the list at this point in time. For me, Pau Gasol and George Mikan, I got nothing but love for you. Robert Horry, Michael Cooper, I got nothing but love for you. But for me, this is a list on how great you were during the time as a Los Angeles Laker. And that's all I based it on, was when you put on that jersey, how great was your game and how much did you bring it and how important you were to the Lakers' overall victories and to the Lakers' overall success. And how much help did you have during that time? That's also key. Because if you had a lot of players around you that were really good alongside of you and made you even better, you may not be as high up on the list. Now, if you did it more on your own, that may put you up higher on the list. So we'll see. So for me, number 10 is Anthony Davis. You got one outstanding year of Anthony Davis that brought you a championship. I mean, the Lakers are here with a title in 2020 because of Anthony Davis and that year in 2020. And it's not based on what he's going to do down the road. It's not based on what he did even last season. It's based on what he did in 2020. And my God, he gave us a season, especially a bubble, for the ages. And if he can ever play like that again, which I'm sure he can, or I'm hoping he can, definitely that could be more gold for the Lakers down the road. Number 9, big game, James Worthy. I mean, what can you say about James Worthy? Part of those great 80s teams. I mean, the wingman alongside Magic Johnson. So definitely looking forward to seeing him, as far as going in and putting out the, on the cigar and clapping again on the Lakers channel of the more Lakers victories. But big game James is my pick at number 9. Number 8 is an individual that will, on my all-time list, will actually be up higher. But as a Laker, he had a limited effectiveness because he didn't play long with the Lakers. And that's Wilt Chamberlain. He is, to me, one of the greatest centers of all time. But in his time in the Lakers was, it was not as successful as I was hoping as it would be. but still he had domination numbers. He had numbers that were still helped the Lakers win and win a world title. So my number 8 pick is Wilt Chamberlain. I'm just surprised when I look in the annals of history and see not that many championships around Wilt Chamberlain's, record, and just still can't imagine to this day, even with all the great Celtics teams, that he didn't win at least 1 or 2 more titles during his tenure, especially when he was so dominant. But need I digress. Number 7 is someone who I really wanted to put up higher, but it's really got, it's lofty, man. When you get up to these lofty heights, it's really hard to do. But number 7 is Elgin Baylor, who is so underrated as a Laker, so much forgotten about and people still think of him as just the guy that worked for the Clippers for so many years. He is so much more than that, and he was such a tremendous individual. One of the things that hurts me is whenever I read or understand when Elgin Baylor had to retire going into the year that the Lakers won the World Championship, and the fact that as soon as he retired, they went on a 33-game winning streak. And man, I just feel for the guy, and just Elgin Baylor, just truly one of the greats in the industry, and wish he would have gotten more acclaim and wish he would have gotten more gold during his time as a Laker. Number 6 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the reason why he's this low, because he's also someone who may be higher. But yeah, Spencer's saying I forgot Alex Caruso on my list. Yes, he is one of the good. He should be number 1 on all of our lists. But well, I actually was thinking about, in honor of LakerTom, doing a top 10 of number 10, Andre Drummond, number 9, the Olympian JaVale McGee, and then all the way leading down to number 1, playoff Rondo. Not regular season Rondo, but playoff Rondo. But need I digress. Getting back to number 6, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We're not talking about as far as his overall career, because his overall career, I think he's going to be thought of as a lot higher, or higher at least, because, again, it's lofty heights. He is the all-time leading scorer, but the years he played with the Lakers after he was traded were a couple of them were really, really strong, and a couple of them were really, really bad, because he was well beyond his prime, because he played till I think age 42, age 43. And that last year, especially, where he only averaged, I think, 7 points a game, I think that was, so that was pretty rough. So I put him, because of those leaner years as his career started to wind down, at the number 6 spot. Number 5 is the MagicMan. He also has this guy up there, and also Spencer and LakerTom, they both mentioned him as well, and that's the logo, Jerry West. I mean, I feel for this guy as well, not having more championships on his fingers. As a member of the Lakers, I really think he exemplified what a Laker should be. And he exemplified a lot what an NBA player of that time and that era should be, thus the fact that he is the logo. So he was such an outstanding individual. And anybody out there who isn't familiar with his game needs to go ahead to YouTube and just look at some highlights of what he did and how excellently he could orchestrate a game. The game came to him so easily, and it was just seen at times like it was a man among boys about how he played and just how well he was able to stroke the ball. And just imagine if the three-pointer had been alive and well during his era. I think it would have been a lot different story on him winning championships. In fact, he was so close to winning more than one, but we'll go ahead with Jerry West at number 5. Number 4 is LeBron James. And LeBron James, again, similar to what I talked about with Anthony Davis, the short-term return so far in 3 seasons has been 1 championship and 2 other seasons where he was right in the mix for the MVP balloting, as far as being the MVP favorite. So I think that tells you what he has done for the Lakers organization during his time. So LeBron gets a higher nod from me at number 4. Number 3, one of my favorite players of all time, Shaq. Mr. Shaquille O'Neal. I would love to have put him number 1, but because he didn't spend the majority of his years in a Lakers uniform, I would probably have to say it would not be right to go ahead and put him at number 1. But he may have been the most dominant of any of these Lakers during his period of time. During those 2000 years, when 2000, 2001, 2002, when he was the man, I think he was dominating in a way that even any of these other players on the list did not dominate NBA Finals, NBA playoffs, and NBA games the way he did in a Lakers uniform. So I wish his career would have been longer. I wish he would have stayed healthier. I wish he would have trained more. I wish he would have shot free throws better. But Mr. Shaquille O'Neal, I tell you what, he did a great job for us, and he deserves all the credit in the world for being at number 3 on my list. Number 2, here we go. As much as I hate to say it, I'm looking at the shirt right now from the 88 world champion back-to-back, but Magic Johnson is my number 2. And I'm going to tell you why, and that's because Magic is just one of the truly outstanding point guards, the greatest point guard of all time, brought so much to the game. But I think if you're going to pair him with the guy I have at number 1, I think just at his height, Kobe, the individual number 1, I almost let it slip out, but you guys know who it is. I think that the number 1 peak was a little bit higher than what Magic gave, and that to me is just Magic. Again, 5 championships during the 80s, gave us a lot. Unfortunately, left the game a little bit sooner, and kind of his back end of his career, and then the coaching career we will not discuss, and then the general manager we will not discuss, and anything off the court we will not discuss. But on the court, he was such a magician, and he was such an outstanding point guard, and had such vision, and just so many things to the game that he added. And I'm truly thankful for his success as a Laker. And number 2 for me, and number 1, of course, is Kobe. And the reason why I pondered this quite a while. I look back at a lot of video, but as we talked about this, and Magic and Kobe, I mean, you could put them 1 and 2, 2 and 1. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either. But for me, number 1, Kobe, and that's because at his height, he was truly, so dominant. He took some really crappy Laker teams to even mediocre records. I mean, a team with Smush Parker and Chris Mim. I mean, come on, these guys wouldn't even be making the G League in today's measure, and he was taking them to respectable records. And then he goes and literally carries the team on his back at times during those 2 championship seasons. 3 finals, 2 championships. So he was literally carrying them on his back. I know Pau Gasol, you're going to say, helped him out. Andrew Bynum, when he was healthy, helped him out. But for Derek Fisher, gave them some timely shooting. But I think Kobe, a lot was so much placed on Kobe Bryant, more so than Magic. I think that's the thing that differentiates 1 and 2, is that in the years that Kobe won by himself, so much more was placed on Kobe's shoulders than on Magic. MagicMan, you had a thought on that? That was my that was my top 10 picks. So there you go. Go ahead, Sean.
Those are some great picks, Gerald. I've had this argument with people in the past. I would argue that Kobe's performance in Game 5 in the Garden, where he scored, I believe he
60-something?
No. This was in the finals, Gerald. It was Game 5.
Okay.
He just went.
Oh, you said Boston Garden. Boston. I thought you said Madison Square Garden. My bad.
I would put that up there, right there in the finals with Jordan's 6 threes that he hit against Portland. I mean, Dwayne Wade was so amazed at his performance that all he could do was shake his head.
Well, that finals performance, that final game for Giannis Antetokounmpo, that reminded me so much of what we saw from, like you said, with Jordan and also as well Kobe Bryant. So, I mean, that's, to me, it's just you're drawing straws between who you like more, Magic or Kobe. But LakerTom, any last thoughts on our all-time top 10 Lakers?
No, I thought you did a good job, Gerald. I mean, the thing about Kobe and Magic is they never put on another uniform.
Yeah.
And then Kobe has the I don't know what you would call it, the tiebreaker in some sense that I could agree to, that he's become a legend ahead of his time. And
I can see it. Well, you picked Magic, right?
I picked Magic. 1. But I didn't really
I can just say
the criteria as you did.
Well, I'm going to say this. Well, I'm going to say, as soon as you said the words Magic over Kobe, I could see Kobe in heaven giving you the side eye, just down there, because you know how competitive he was.
Maybe.
I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding.
He was also a lot milder the last 3 years when he was a girl dad. So
yes, that's true. But yeah, Kobe, he was still always a great one. But yeah, you can't go wrong, Magic or Kobe either.
I mean, it's 2 guys that never put on another jersey. Not many people can say that. I mean, not people who've gone 20 years, Yeah. Some guys who could say, The only jersey I ever put on was a Lakers jersey because they drafted me, and then I was kicked out of the league, you know. But to put on and have a successful career and only wear one jersey, whether it's for the Lakers or any team, that's quite an accomplishment and something that's become exceedingly rare in today's sports landscape.
Absolutely, with the free agency and the money that's out there, and things like that. I agree with you on that. But Spencer, any thoughts on our picks? Were they acceptable? Were they out there? I mean, you had a great pick right there with George Mikan, obviously bringing that back to the forefront and his accomplishments in his career. I mean, any last thoughts on our top 10 right there for you?
Normally I prepare more for podcasts. Today I wrote down 10 names, and then obviously I ordered them on the fly. I thought about it more. I'd probably put LeBron higher. I almost put Anthony Davis on my list, but I don't know. It just feels wrong to put current players over players whose Lakers legacies are set.
For me, it was about what have you done in a Lakers jersey, period.
We might have done differently had you put that on the agenda instead of just dropping it.
No, because that's how I saw it. That's how I see it. You see it different ways. Just top 10 Lakers. So, I mean, if we're going to go to one of those Laker forum places right now, whether it's LakersBall.com, whether it's LakerHolics.com, whether it's Facebook for any, just type in Lakers, all those groups, you're going to see 100 different answers to how they evaluate top 10 Lakers. So I think that's something that everybody has to, go ahead and say is how you perceive, who the top 10 Lakers are. Some people perceive the top 10 Lakers as just the best 10 players overall, regardless of wherever they played, and they just happen to play for the Lakers. So it could be that way. So, beauty is in the eye beholder, and I think no one had wrong choices. So, no one said Alex Caruso, seriously. So there you go. And but go ahead, Sean. You had some thoughts real quick.
Yeah, no, Gerald, I was also going to say, I mean, with being a legend comes a lot of serendipity as well. I mean, we were talking about Robert Horry. If it wasn't for Robert Horry throwing a sweaty, dirty towel in Danny Ainge's face, we as Laker fans wouldn't have enjoyed our three-peat. He wouldn't have been on the Lakers.
That's true. Well, we can thank him for that, and Danny Ainge for his decision-making after that. But Spencer, okay, if you want to go ahead and recalibrate your top 10, you got the last chance, man. Last chance.
All right. That's right.
Okay, because it's gonna be posted on there for all to see at LakerHolics.com, and then there's gonna be a comment from Spencer saying, "Well, what I meant to say was." So, okay, I'm just giving you the option now, my friend, just making sure. But yours was an excellent list. LakerTom's excellent list. MagicMan's excellent list. I want to make sure everybody knows out there, if you have a all-time top 10 Lakers, again, sometime in the near future, Sean is graciously going to go ahead and post that. But you can have your say at LakerHolics.com. We want to see your list. We definitely want to see your list. Take a moment in time, put your top 10. Let's get a conversation going at LakerHolics.com. Or you can email them to me, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, or at LakersFastBreak on Twitter, or at LakerTom. Tell LakerTom straight up right there for you, the top 10 Lakers right there for you all time. So that'd be a great part of the conversation. He loves talking Lakers. I love talking Lakers. Sean, Spencer, we all love talking Lakers. So hopefully you'll be able to do that at LakerHolics.com or the social media. But before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and mention real quick, Rob, a good man, he's been busy with life and all that, but I wanted to go ahead and put in his thoughts on email to the Russell Westbrook trade and all that. He said, personally, he goes back and forth on Westbrook before ultimately siding with LeBron. If LBJ wants him, then he's on board. And anyways, he's chiming in to say he didn't hear any animosity and felt that healthy. Oh, sorry, that was something else in there. I'll have to take that out. But, just basically it was Westbrook. He wants to go ahead and say, if LeBron wants him on the team, go ahead and have him on the team. So there you go. But guys, it's been tremendous having you on there. I want to go ahead and make sure that everybody out there knows that we truly appreciate you watching and listening. We've gotten some of our highest download numbers in ever. Yeah, ever since way back, I think, to the bubble. These are bubble numbers for us right now. So everybody seems to be excited about Lakers basketball. I want to give a big shout out to everybody out there that's watching and listening to us all over the world. In fact, we've had some great responses from people out there. We were one of the top basketball shows in Slovenia. So I want to give everybody a big shout out in Slovenia, and cannot thank you enough for being a part of the program and listening to us on a weekly basis. So we truly appreciate it. Also want to give a big shout out to everybody in France, because we're one of the top places to go to there. In Turkey, want to thank you so much for being where we're on the top sports shows and basketball shows in Turkey on Apple Podcasts. The Philippines, we're one of the top shows in sports and basketball on there. And Singapore, cannot thank you enough for everyone in Singapore, the Philippines, and Turkey for listening to our show. I wanted to make sure that got in there, so I truly appreciate everyone out there all around the world that listens to us right here at Lakers Fast Break. So for LakerTom, Sean Grice, a.k.a. the Magic Man, and Spencer Young from Basketball University on Medium.com, this is Gerald Glassford. Hopefully you'll catch me on, of course, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and, of course, right here on the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.